All right, surprise, surprise, everybody. We are live on Instagram and YouTube. Surprise live stream. I wanted to go ahead and do a live stream, even if you don't see this live, do a preview of the online sale that we're getting ready to have. So I wanted to go live to show you guys, like I said, a preview of some of the stuff that's going to be on my online sale here in 2 days, right? So Monday, yes, Monday at 6 p.m. So also Danielle just got Macy a Christmas sweater, so we'll start out with humiliated but cute doggo in a Christmas sweater. So Macy's like, what are y'all doing to me? So anyway, I just wanted to show her to you guys and then show you Potts. But yeah, she's like, I don't know what you guys are doing to me. Here, you want to go outside, Macy? Go ahead. You want to go out? All right. Anyway, so yeah, that was the main point of the live stream is to show you guys a preview of the pots that are going to be online. We have let's see, about probably, I don't know, 80 mugs or so, and then some bowls and some tumblers and some nice jars and pitchers. You can see behind me. I'll show you several things. We'll start out with some mugs. So these are all pieces that are going to be on my online sale starting Monday at 6 p.m. unless you're a member of my Patreon. Members on my Patreon will, at certain levels, will get a preview sale starting tomorrow night. So about 24 hours ahead of time, I password protect my website for 24 hours so they can get in and get a preview of the things that are for sale and get first pick. So some beautiful wood-fired mugs, all from wood firing number 9. So that all of the pieces should be marked with my signature and a number 9 on the bottom. I had some beautiful things that come out of this firing. Here's a really cool swirled mug in my white and blue ash glaze. Hardly even looks like it's out of a wood kiln, but you can definitely tell by looking at the bottom that it is out of the wood kiln. But not many of those as far as this color combination. Most of all of those sold. I have 4 or 5 of these that are like cappuccino slash, I can't talk today, cappuccino slash like a soup mug. So that would be, 1 or 2 fingers in there for a soup mug, or you could hold it, around like that and through the handle. But there's a couple of these in the white and the blue. Other mugs, here's kind of like a new style that I made. It's kind of like the traditional belly mug, but without the foot. I thought it'd be neat to make some more traditional looking ones that don't have the little foot ring at the bottom, like this one does. You can see most of my mugs I make with the little foot at the bottom. And that's also one with white and blue, but the white was not dipped all the way down on the outside. We left some raw clay exposed at the base there. We got some we got some really good reduction in this firing, and so we got some really nice clay colors. You can see there's another one that was white and blue, but it was farther back in the kiln, so the clay still has a nice rich brown color. And depending on how close they were to the front of the kiln, they will get either heavier texture and salt or just nice color like that on the base of that one. Probably the most popular and probably still my favorite color combination is this kind of royal blue with those iron-rich slip dots. So if you see numbers on them, that's all the listing numbers for all of the online sales. That's how I keep track of what I've listed and what also when something sells. That helps me to grab that item and pack it and ship it. I have a few bowls that I made. So these are got some really nice contrast and direction from the salt and the heat and the flames going through the kiln. That white slip also shows off. These are like that royal blue on the inside. I have 4 of these, and then there's 2 of these that got really nice heavy salt and heavy reduction. These must have been on the floor of the kiln. And then the inside, that's the same blue on the inside of each of these. It's just that this one got way more salt. It fluxes out the blue and almost brightens it up a bit. And so I have two of these bowls like this. They don't have the white slip lines on them, but they are gorgeous as far as the color of the clay and the inside of the bowls. So I have some bowls on there. Those are like soup slash cereal bowls. I have some tumblers. So here's some, that's like a white slip swirl. You want to go out, Macy? Come on. There we go. She's over here whining at me. Then we have a few that were just raw clay on the outside, but also, like I said, got some really nice directional effect on these from the salt and the heat going through the kiln. Here's a couple also with just some white slip decoration. Nice kind of little salty ash side right there. And then, yeah, so I have a lot of mugs. And then I have a bunch of, I've probably put a few more larger things in this offer, in this online sale than normal. Starting with some, here's some pitchers. I made these pitchers this time just a little bit larger than the last time I made them. I don't know exactly what they hold. I should measure one in volume. But these, one thing I obsess about as far as weight are pitchers. A lot of you have probably heard me say that, but I make sure that my pitchers are very light. These were probably made out of about 2 to 2.5 pounds of clay. I can't remember exactly how much now. I make them in 2 sections so I can make them really light. So I think, no, there was 2 in the bottom section, and then maybe half a pound or 3/4 in the top. So finished, they probably weigh about 2.5 pounds. But that way, if you fill them full of liquid, they're not going to be too heavy to lift and to pour out of. But I have a few different pitchers, some different glaze combinations in those. This is a blue ash glaze. Believe it or not, this is the same blue ash glaze that over top of the white, you can see there turns like a brighter or kind of like a grayish blue, and then by itself over the clay can even turn green or that darker blue there. Here's one that had the rutile blue on it, but most of the blue kind of got bleached out by the salt, but it also made it really nice and shiny. Shows off that white slip decoration underneath. Inside still has a nice rutile blue down in there. It's a gorgeous picture. But like I said, I try to make the handles nice and roomy for your whole hand to fit, and also make them light so that they can be handled easily. This is probably one of my favorite pieces that I photographed. I considered keeping it, but I kept one out of this glaze combination from last firing, so I decided I would not keep this one also. This one, I just love how balanced the shape is, getting the nice round bottom, and then that top, the way it flares. I love that, the look of that one also. This is a combination of the Strontium Crystal Magic and the turquoise glaze that I have, and you get some nice microcrystalline growth in this, especially when it's further back in the kiln. You can see this is lightly textured, or doesn't even really have a texture, just has a light sheen to the raw clay on the bottom, but that allows the glaze to survive heavy salt and ash. What actually makes this glaze turn more of that kind of grayish to blue color, but on the back side you get this nice microcrystalline growth. And so the utility of that shape is pretty much just enjoying looking at it. So that is more of an art piece than it is useful, because there's not much room to put any kind of flowers or any in that. I do have, let's see, 3 side-fired pieces. So these were laying in the kiln on their side like this. So if you've watched me on YouTube, I did a video recently of side-fired bottles. I have another video to put out kind of showing the next process of flattening the bottles, but I showed the throwing of a couple of these. So that's what this one, actually I think this is the one I featured on the video, and this one is actually labeled number 1 of number 9. If you can read that, that is actually each firing I've had in my wood kiln, I have made a piece that is the first piece for that wood firing, and this is number 1 of number 9, and it will be on the online sale starting Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Or if, like I said, if you're a member of my Patreon, you can get a 24-hour early access for the tiers that applies to, as well as discount codes. If you're a member of my Patreon, I send out discount codes for the different levels of Patreon so they can get discounts if they're planning to shop online. Here's another one that I did not flatten, but also side fired. This one has a really cool spot there around that shell where the glaze ran. You can see those nice drips. I sprayed an ash glaze on this side, and that's what all this glaze, all the drips and the runs are from that running down around. And so that's a really sweet bottle there, side fired piece. So let's see. Here's another cool one I did in the strontium Crystal Magic also, but this one had my like that royal blue glaze over top of the strontium, but also in the back of the kiln, and with it cooling probably a little bit slower, it got some nice microcrystalline growth there. So we got that. I got some beautiful jars. I put a couple larger jars. These are my 6-pound jars. So these are probably some of the larger items that I do have for sale. And I apologize, the shipping on these is probably going to be outrageous because of the size and if they go any distance. But I did want to offer them in case anybody sees anything that they want to get, even if it's a larger piece like this. I have some smaller, I have kind of like 3 sizes of jars I have. This is a really nice representation of the rutile blue over the red slip. You can see all the interaction that happens between those two on this one. You see that rutile blue on the inside of that jar. Really pretty. Let's see, I have some more. I do have one jar that has white slip under that royal blue. So instead of the dark slip, this has white slip. And like I said, I think these were on the floor in the very back of the kiln, but is a nice spot to get heavier salt and some nice reduction on the clay body. So these got some really nice reduction. Also, when this blue gets a heavier salt, it does kind of rivulet like that and drip and run a whole lot. So really pretty as far as that goes. Like I said, that one's blue on the inside. Let's see. Here's a really cool jar that was right up in front of the kiln, and it had actually some salt that dripped off the shelf above it onto the piece. So this piece had lines of slip running all the way up and down the piece, but then this side here got really heavily salted, and all the wood ash, and then like I said, towards the end, salt dripped from the shelf above it onto the lid and then down onto the piece in 3 different spots there and 1 spot on the lid. So that's a really unique piece. You won't see a lot of pieces like that. That one had the rutile blue on the inside, and then like I said, all the lids I don't glaze the lids on the inside because there's too much of a tendency of that to drip down and stick. Let's see. Here's another pretty jar that was right up front. This one just had vertical lines of white slip applied to it, drip down, and so it's really cool because it just follows the shape of the jar, which causes those lines to kind of spread out and then come back together towards the bottom. Really nice side there of nice salt and wood ash, as well as on the rim, or on the lid, sorry. Alright, let's see. Here's one more large jar that has this strontium and turquoise glaze. So a lot of that microcrystalline growth in this one. It's a 6-pound jar. And then the inside color on this one is pretty sweet. It's a nice turquoise. That reminds me of an old Seagrove turquoise color that I used to see back in the day. So, all right, let's see. There are, and then I have some smaller jars. These were like 1.5 pound or 2 pound jar. And so there's like 3 or 4 of these that are smaller jars like this. Let's see. I have, I put 3 platter bowls on the, I'm going to list 3 platter bowls. There's a spot here to set them down. I sold just about all the platter bowls I had made. All of these I do have wired up so they can be hung on the wall. So if you've seen these hung before, you can just put a screw or a nail in the wall, and then it sits right on this, and then it can hang on the wall like this without you seeing the wire that's around the foot. So I have 3 of these platter bowl, or 3 platter bowls, all different designs here. They all have the little swirl in the bottom, but there's one. That blue right there, I love how this blue changes from shiny to satin matte and mixes in some of that lighter blue. And so there's that one. I have this one. I had some fun with this one. I cut an irregular rim instead of having a patterned rim, kind of an inspire from some other potters in North Carolina that I've seen do this on the rim of the pieces. But then, like I said, that same blue did that beautiful, this is kind of one of those peacock platter bowls where all those dots and the glaze that runs around the dots down into the bottom. And then I have one of these left over, which was one that it's kind of more of a flared design, and then I carved into the clay while it was green, and then I filled those carvings with white glaze and then wiped away the excess, and then I put a little bit of colored glass in the bottom, and that gives you a really cool contrast between the natural clay color in the background and then the white glaze that is there. So like I said, all these are listing numbers. If you see numbers on them, that's not the price, that's a listing number. And I have a couple utensil holders as well. Here's another really nice representation of what I like to see out of the Rutile blue and red slip. It's just, you get very few spots in the kiln that get that perfect combination in my book of getting it's crazy. The red slip has to get hot enough to melt, which really happens at like cone 11 or 12. And also salt helps that melt. But the salt will also bleach out the blue, so I can't really, it's like tricky to get these in the right spot in the kiln to get the right temperature and the right amount of salt, and then to get like I said, that blue to melt just right. So it's kind of a finicky glaze, but when it turns out right, it is beautiful. Here's another one in the kind of that white with the blue ash glaze over top of it. So you can see that in the inside, it's a really kind of a pure white. But then on the outside, we just dipped the white like a third of the way and then sprayed the ash glaze over that. Get that really cool mottled bluish, kind of a grayish blue color, and then the drips are like a darker blue. It almost looks like there's stardust inside the drips. That's pretty sweet. Here's another one that was, this one is a utensil holder or a wine chiller that just had the lines of slip. But then the inside has that Rutile blue. Another great example of that Rutile blue. But it always looks better on the inside than the outside. But it's one of those glazes that does that to you. All right, let's see. All right, I think I showed you just about everything that I have. I mean, I didn't show you all the mugs, but I showed you most of them. So wasn't going to take too long for this live stream, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up. So if you're interested, all of it will be on my website, MatthewKellyPottery.com. If you're interested in my Patreon in order to get early access or discounts on my online sales, you can go to the front page of my website. At the very bottom, there's a link to my Patreon. If you click on that link, it doesn't sign you up. It just gives you information. So you can click on that link, find out information about my Patreon. And yeah, so other than that, 6 p.m. on Monday, the sale will go live for everybody. About 24 hours before that, the sale will go live for my members of my Patreon at certain tiers. And then I will start packing and shipping items on Thursday of next week. So the sale is going to go live on Monday, but I won't be able to start packing and shipping until Thursday. But still, that means that by Monday at the latest, things will ship out, and that's still like the 5th or 6th, something like that, of December. So everything's going to go out in plenty of time to arrive before Christmas. So if you're Christmas shopping, don't worry about that. Everything that I have listed, and I'm shipping via UPS, everything kind of like US and some even Canada, I'll ship via UPS. So I don't have any worries about them arriving on time. I mean, there's always the possibility, but they have a great track record of shipping on time. So yeah, so any questions or comments other than Sorry, I wasn't looking at comments along the way. I was just trying to show you items. So anyway, so like I said, Monday at 6 p.m. Unless you're interested or already a member of my Patreon, then you will get a 24-hour preview before that. Will start tomorrow night. And that's it. So hope you guys have a great day. Like I said, I'll look at the comments real quick just to see. Happy belated Thanksgiving to you as well. Thank you for all the comments. Hey, Joel. You showed up just as I'm leaving. But anyway, like I said, all these videos will go live. So if you want to go back and rewatch, if you showed up late and you want to go back and watch the preview of all the things that will be available, it will be on Instagram and on YouTube. So you can check it out either of those places. But they will all be live 6 p.m. on Monday. So anyway, appreciate all of you, got all your support. And I will be back. I put out a video on YouTube here just 2 days ago. I have another one to put together here in just a couple, probably in about a week. So I'll be back on the mode of making videos, and I've got a cool project coming in January. I plan on trying out a new style of kiln that I'm going to build here as well. So we're going to have some content to put together some videos here real soon. So anyway, loving your mug you got last sale. Awesome. Thank you so much for your support. So yeah, it was a great firing, Ricky. We had a lot of great pots out of this firing, and excited for all the support I've had so far, and for all of you out there around the world. So, all right, you guys have a great time, a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you soon on the internet in some form or fashion. All right, see you guys later.